Namaste, beloveds. This is Mother with Wisdom, and I am appearing before you early in the morning. And in my meditation, I have come across something that I'm supposed to share. And as you can see today, there's no lot of makeup. It's just the natural. And that's how I was told to present myself as a priestess. Of course, there are little attributes, but it is what it is. What I want to bring forward is just a revelation that has come to me, and there's no other way to start this than to start it with what Mama gave me, and then to move from there with why I'm doing this video. This is all of them are personal, but this one is very personal. From the dreams I had, from the visions I've been having, from the inward conversations and the outward conversations. This card is so on point with so many things. So I just want to go there with it and go with the flow of it. So the card is, hope you can see it. Let me get it right. There we go. As you know, this is the Fiona deck. This is the Aphrodite, the Lover's card. And in the traditional card, it is the Lovers. So I want to read what Fiona gave for it. And it is just priceless in its wisdom. So here we go. Aphrodite, the Lovers, from Fiona, Daughters of the Moon. Here we go. And in the background you hear DEVA, PREMAL, the MOOLA mantra. Very fitting for this. If you don't know the MOOLA mantra and what it means, then I advise you to Google it. DEVA, PREMAL, MOOLA mantra. Google the lyrics and the meanings, and you'll find out what the energy of it is all about. So here we go with this. Aphrodite, the Lovers. Because her breasts are good, better than wine, her smell lovelier than all fragrance. Because women, I have loved her, cast spells for her. I've run behind her wrapped in her smell. She brought me to her house like a queen. I shall find joy and quiet in her. Shall love her breasts more than all wine. Everything good, everything true, anywhere has loved her. A sheaf of scent is my love to me. Resting between my breasts, a bunch of grapes from Cyprus is my love to me in these vineyards across the channel. Under the forest's menacing shade, I longed for her and sat there, longing for her. Her fruit taste, still sweet in my mouth, in my throat. Oh, take me to the house of wine. Promise me love. Prop me against the incense. Fill me up with fruit, round apples, because I'm picked clear, raw with love, raw by love. And this was from the Song of Song, Hellenistic Greek. And I just want to say, as a poet, those words took me there. They just took me there. Certain things take me there. Um, they are always wrapped in the energy of their intent, and that took me there. Okay, I'm gonna move on because I don't want to make this a long, drawn out thing. The goddess of love appears, the all powerful force drawing humans together, transforming, healing, or enchanting. The love goddess Aphrodite, Oshun, and Venus teach us about surrender to the force of passionate love, the dissolution of ego boundaries, and peak experiences. Her influence can make or shake your world, add to your growth, or change you forever. When we love, we burn with desire and are inspired by its ecstasy. Our cells pulsate with the force of love, which is ecstatic goddess energy to whom we surrender ourselves. Aphrodite has been revered by pagans and witches who have held rituals in her honor, by poets who sang her praises, and by all true lovers everywhere. In her favorable aspect, she is the happy state of balance and harmony between body, mind, and soul, and an open channel for the divine energy of love. Aphrodite plays little mind to the boundaries we humans have created between us. Women fall in love with women, men with men, poor with rich, old with young. So the weavings of our world are begun and sustained by the ways in which we love. Sometimes we find that Aphrodite has laws of her own. We must learn the hard way. Her lessons often include pain, jealousy, and great suffering. Yet, immense joy and unparalleled ecstasy are also the gifts of this goddess. More often than not, she teaches us karmic lessons. Our culture frequently objectifies love, particularly passionate love, cheapens and degrades it, or adds oppressive role expectations to it. Lovers have no place in the efficient, rational, competitive world except as an advertiser's ploy, a passing fantasy, a childhood memory, or a useful vehicle for patriarchal courtship. Religious doctrines have taught us to view love's physical expression as sinful, and a net of taboos keep Aphrodite under control. We learn to forget how important she once was to us, and we cut off the deep bonds that connect our hearts. Repression of Aphrodite is then manifested in physical and nervous disorders. This severing from her energy weakens our bodies and adds to our oppression. As we create alternative women ways to live in tune with our visions, we begin to seek new ethics that allow us to love safely and happily. These ethics for matriarchal lovers would take many books to explore. As each person has different needs and each etheric way would vary. However, by maintaining our heart connections with each other, being accountable for each other's emotional well-being, and refraining from abandoning or discarding one another, we began to create responsible ways to transform patriarchal patterns. That is so important. It's so important that I'm going to say it again. As we create alternative women's ways to live in tune with our visions. We began to seek new ethics that allow us to love safely and happily. These ethics for matriarchal lovers would take many books to explore, as each person has different needs and each ethic would vary. However, by maintaining our heart connections with each other, being accountable for each other's emotions and well being, and refraining from abandoning or discarding one another, we began to create responsible ways to transform patriarchal patterns. We can create a process with those we love, one that is ongoing and changing perhaps, i.e., friend to lover, lover to friend again. But a structure where love remains throughout our struggles and changes. Community support, meditation, and the forming of contracts among us. This is so important. Communication is everything, and we need to be clear on our intents and our needs and our longings and our wants and our desires. And these things need to be shared. This is the vulnerability and the nakedness. This is what intimacy is truly about. And this is what has to be shared. And before it can be shared, it must be self-realized that these are your foundations. These are, it's not your baggage, it's not your projections. These are your needs. They are your authentic needs. And these needs have to be met within you for you to be emotionally satisfied, for you to be physically satisfied, for you to be in tune with this Aphrodite energy, the energy of the lovers. And when you enter this state, it's a mutual thing. It's to be given and received, it's to be reflected and refracted and shared. It is the expansion of the all. And when we lose sight of that, we lose sight of our purpose. We lose sight of the reason for existence. We lose sight of who we are. We cannot relate to our true selves if we don't know that we are love. We are expressions of divine love in all her flavors, in all her forms, in all her colors, in all her accents. And each of us vary. Each of us brings something similar, but each of us brings something separate as well. And it is the melding, the blending, the loving, the screwing that connects us back to this state of knowing, this wise serpent state of knowing, this Kundalini way of knowing. And it is very important that we get there as beings. And in order to do that, we must be forgiving of each other. We must allow ourselves and our loves to be born and reborn and to die daily. And we renew each other, we restore each other, we give to each other. But first we have to learn to do that with ourselves. And all of this is based upon trust. And I'll get there in a minute. Let me go back to Effie on it. We can create a process with those we love, one that is ongoing and changing perhaps. I friend to lover, lover to friend again, but a structure where love remains throughout our struggles and changes. Community support, meditation, and the forming of contracts among us is all part of a new matriarchal view for lovers. From there is a respect for the profound effects of love, an incredible depth of feeling. And I want to pause again for a moment and just share this. So many of us have, just like we have forgotten how to breathe deeply, and that warrior breath, and that deep breath that revitalizes us from the bottom of our pinky toe all the way up to the hair follicle that stands on end. We have forgotten to feel connected to all of us, to the core of ourselves. That core that is capable of feeling deeply without the mistrust of being hurt, without the mistrust of being abandoned, without the hurt that is mirrored and reflected, in our psyches, the post-traumatic effects that come from not being able to give freely from that place of innocence that once existed, because you know that the fire burns now to the touch. You can only go so close to the flames, and you expect to be burned without understanding there are different flames, and that at times we as spiritual beings walk through those flames without being singed at all. And it is for us to trust ourselves in order to walk through those flames and those fires. And those flames and those fires represent our basic needs, our desires, our human passions, whatever they are, and whatever range they may take. So let me finish with what Fiona says about the lovers. This is so deep to me. That's why I had to share this. So, I didn't think I was going to be doing videos like this. But when Spirit leads you to do something, I'm on a path of self-expansion, self-understanding, self-understanding, and I'm reaching out for different parts of myself with love and with trust. And is what I'm being shown is that just as though I'm at different levels within myself and experiencing wisdom and the voices of ego and the voices of ancestors and the voices of the parts that have been hurt, as well as the voices now of those who have been healed and that nurtured those parts. So it's a total emergence of a new world for me, and that new world is what I'm sharing. And I'm hoping that you're able to receive it. My gift to you is my gift of myself to myself. So I'm sharing. I'm sharing. And it's important. Sometimes we label ourselves different things. Some of us label ourselves exhibitionists, others as voyeurs. If I would label myself, I would say I'm a voyeur. I'm here to observe. I watch. I learn to watch. I learn through observation. I make my discernment on what I see, what I feel, what I think, what I smell. It's on the observation of um, my senses. And I'm getting to a place where it's just a wonderful place to be at. And it's very secure. Whereas before, everything was just, okay, hop on this raft and we're going to float around the river, or what, and see what's around the river bend. But this is a lot different. This is a knowing. And this only comes when you tap into that crone aspect. And that crone aspect brings the maiden and the mother aspect more into perspective in a way that you're able to see yourself so clearly, where as before, you wondered about yourself. You wondered about your wants. You wondered about your needs, and you were needing something or someone to validate you. And we search for those things that we are hungry for, that are denied us. And if the patterns have been established that you chase them, then you chase them. And if the patterns have been established that you just submit to whatever rolls you over on your back, then you've learned to just lay there and submit, and to go into that mode and do it. Do not beat yourself up for whatever method of coping that you've brought forward, because it was and is survival mechanisms for this unjust, chaotic system that your higher self is helping you to research and understand and find your place in, and find your place of balance and center, so that you can grow, so that you can become rooted, so that you can produce ripe fruit, and that you can feed others, not just yourself. Okay, let me get back to it. On the other hand, women have too often been victims and slaves to love. That is so the truth. That is so much the truth. And that is so much, that energy has so much to do with why we are where we are right now, in the scheme of things. It's because of the love we have been seeking from the moment the thought was coherent enough in the source to be processed. Okay, let me move forward. We have allowed ourselves to feel totally worthless and depressed when our loved one leaves or stops the flow of love. The ways we fall in love and the ways we part from lovers are an integral part of our feminism. Hear that and know it. And this is not just for women, it's for men as well, because we both contain the yin and the yang essence. And I want you to understand what F. Fiona is saying about this card and about this energy and about this particular set of circumstances. I'm going to repeat what I just wrote, what I just read. The way we fall in love and the way we part from lovers are an integral part of our feminism. I'm going to break that down for you. Um, the way that you learn to love, that child part of you, that that governs, that regulates, that rules your definition of love. Um, that's how you relate to others, and that's how you relate your needs to others. And oftentimes we we project our love experiences onto others, and there's study trying to say, no, that's not me, or look deeper, or I see the game you're playing, and I'm not them, Slim. You know, you can't come at me the way you've come at others, because I'm not them. My whole disposition, my whole mentality, my whole spirituality, my whole self identity is totally different from what you're used to. So the patterns that you are used to using to engage, they don't they don't work with it. You have to come up with something different. Um, there's certain aspects that of me that will come out and play with you, but there are other aspects of me that are like, I don't think so, homie. I've been there, done that years ago, and we ain't going back down that road. But I'm giving you a chance to see yourself. I'm giving you a chance to adapt, to a new way, to yourself, to your own thinking, to uncover you. And, that's not a weakness in me that's doing that. That's actually a strength. But I can walk you through it. I can learn the lessons for you. I can't make the necessary um, adjustments, attunements for you. That's strictly something you have to do. And if you are not ready to do that, I cannot enforce, my thoughts and opinions on you. And I have to back away, because at the same time, I'm waiting on you, but my needs are not being met. And when we get to a certain point in caring for ourselves, and when you're so used to being a caretaker, and you're so used to um, helping others, caretaking for others, making them feel better, even just on an energetic level, with not really even interacting with them, there comes a point, where you realize that you have needs as well, and that your needs are just as important as everyone else's. And to keep denying yourself um, is to remain in a state of deprivation, and that's a choice. And that is taking the love is suffering stance. And love is so much more than just suffering. Love is bliss. Some people take their bliss as suffering. They are where the aesthetics, I hope I'm saying that right, um, of long ago, they were the fanatics, they were the zealots, you know. And we have all these different ways of emoting, and expressing. And that's what we're here to do at this time. We're here to understand our deepest functionings and our deepest connections, and understand that we are a part of everything and everyone. And when we do that, when we gain that understanding, we will have reached a plateau that Homo sapiens have always reached for. And this is the turn, and hopefully this is the time that will cause such an impact that the world changes as we change. The vibrations change as we become more in tune with our true needs and our true selves, and not those that have been inflicted upon us, as we rise above the boundaries, the limitations, the oppression, as we evolve and we are no longer dictated to by the oppressor of love, the oppressor of understanding of self, of our divine birthrights, you know. So we have a lot to overcome. And the presentation of Aphrodite and the Lover's card was so profound today, because there's so much I want to say cooking inside of me. There's so much stewing. There's so much that is just ripening. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Is the fruits are ripening. You know, the tree has tapped into her resources, and she's producing fruits, and some of her fruits are sweet, some will be bitter, some will be a mixture, you know, some will be so good, and others will be, that should have stayed on the tree a little bit longer. But we are fruitful. We are fruit-bearing people. We were told to be fruitful and multiply. Be aware of the fruit that you produce. If all your fruit is bitter, who wants it? You know, I'm sure, but listen to that, because there are those out there who don't want nothing but bitter fruit, bittersweet fruit. That's all they know how to process and digest. But then there are those that want more. And it's not just the sweetness that we want all of it, you know, but we want it all in that one. We don't want to go to this, have to eat all your fruit that you produce just to gain an understanding or an understanding, or to have our desires, you know, met from your tree, from your fruit. You have to give, you know, and when you're sharing with a partner, you always want to give them your best. Just like with your children, you love them, so you want the best for them. To not want the best for your lover, your partner, your friend is a sure sign of selfishness, and that you are not ready to either partake of fruit or to produce it, because you haven't matured enough. You're still in the seedling phase of yourself. Let me move on, because this is getting longer and longer. Okay. The ways we fall in love and the ways we part from lovers are an integral part of our feminism. Can't get past that key statement. It is important to seek ways to add wings to the heart, to love in a way that allows freedom while keeping our self-focus as we surrender to the passions of Aphrodite. Equality between lovers, sharing and passing the power, is an additional element of importance for feminist relationships. If this card comes up in a reading, you are dealing with the appearance of Aphrodite. Ecstatic energies, a new love, or an old one rekindled. Tarot traditions discuss the lovers in relation to discrimination or the importance of the choices Aphrodite calls upon us to make, while we seek to remain free of oppressive patterns in love. May we also continue to honor the sacredness and life-producing effects of her passion. A reverse card indicates difficulty with a lover or loss of a love. You could possibly be denying yourself love because you believe you don't deserve it, or avoiding the lessons of Aphrodite altogether. And that is what Fiona and I had to say about this wonderful card that was drawn from Daughters of the Moon Tarot by Fiona Morgan. And I just want to state, as a hopeless romantic, that I've always been, and probably always will be, because of who I am, the memories that I hold, and the vessel that I've been, collectively over these millennia and ages and equinoxes and solstices and time as we digest time. It is it's time, it's just time on so many different levels for us to attract and to burn and to shine passionately, and in order to do that, you have to find, we can do it on our own, don't get me wrong, but the way we were designed and created is not to do it alone. It's to be paired. That is what duality is. And we are expressions of that duality. The male and the female, whatever body that comes in, it's the energy. Energy, okay? What's inside, the yin and yang that is expressed. And we can choose to do those expressions in many different colors, in many different vibrations, in many different notes. But just as there are so many different ways, there are so many different interpretations of those notes and of those colors and of those feelings. And you want to make sure that you're in sync and that you're not just fighting against each other, because that becomes redundant and it's not necessary, and you lose so much when you could be expressing so much more, depth than what you limit yourself to. And I just want to say again that I'm very thankful to be a vessel, and to be aware and awake at this time, because it's just very empowering, and each day brings its own wisdom, its own knowing. And, I am so overwhelmed right now with just the the understanding that is happening for me on so many different levels. And I'm so thankful for, you know, for that. And I'm getting past a lot of things, getting past a lot of my little, quirks and insecurities and my own little thoughts and feelings. And um, as I go there with myself, um, I try to share and be transparent because um, I am every woman, and I am every man, and I am every plant, and I am every mineral, and I am every element, every elemental as well. Every planet, every stardust, every atom, every molecule, every piece of dark matter, every ray of light. I contain it, and I can reflect it. I can receive it, and I can give it. And that is the truth of the matter. And that is the knowing of the self. And that is understanding the need for the celestial lover, for the mirror reflection. And that is why we look and search for what feeds us. And we sometimes get so lost in the pattern that has been established that we don't recognize that